Well, we're back. And if you guys don't know already, the outcome was not the outcome I was hoping for. But, hats off to Jason Vassalo, who did a great job and caught me with a great punch. And we're going to give a little recap of the fight and a little recap of, my career and stuff. But as far as the fight goes, when Jason was coming in, flying in, he asked for 2 scales at the hotel. So I was like, oh, he's probably not going to make weight. I met him at the hotel. Super nice guy. But we took a picture together, and I'm like looking at him, and I'm like, this dude is not going to make weight. He's a lot bigger than me. And he posted on his social media, and a lot of people, all his people, obviously think he's going to win, but they're all saying how his fists are twice the size of my fist, which is true. Jason has big hands, But then we got to weigh-ins, and I kept saying, I'm like, yo, if he's 1 pound over, he has to lose this. If he's 0.2 ounces over, he's have to lose it. But he actually came in underweight. So hats off to him, true professional that he is, that he came in underweight, ready to go. Then we get to the fight. Finally the fight that we all been waiting for. Me and Jason trained very hard for the fight. And as most of you guys know, as this was my last fight, I picked a really tough opponent, and Jason Vassalo, who has 140 fights, multiple-time world champion. And finally, we're at the fight. Everything is going on. As most people don't know, is I don't have a trainer. So everything I do is by myself. So my dressing room is very quiet. There's not too many people in there. It's a very small circle. My good friend from 8th grade came in. Troy came in, gave us a prayer, which was, he gave me a prayer. I thought I could fight Godzilla after that prayer. I mean, it was a great prayer, so I appreciate Troy for that. But like I said, my dressing room, my circle is very small, but I don't have a trainer. So my warm-up is me shadowboxing. I don't hit mitts. I don't hit anything. I haven't hit a pair of mitts for, I don't know when was the last time I hit a pair of mitts, but I don't have a trainer. So warming up was a little bit different for me, as, I'm just shadowboxing and, I don't have a trainer. But now, one of the biggest things for me was to see my son walk out with the title belt. And I could see the big screens in my dressing room, so I'm watching all the kids walk out. They're all walking out, and I'm like, they're doing 2 laps, and I'm like, the look in my face is just like, oh my God, where's my son? Where's my son? He was so slow because he couldn't carry the belt by himself. He needed his cousins to help him. So when I finally saw my son, it lit up my eyes, and I couldn't wait to get to the ring then. And then it's fight night. The fight is finally here. The bell rings for the first fight, and I will give. My game plan was, obviously, it doesn't matter what my game plan was, and now I'll tell you secrets out. My game plan was, after watching a lot of Jason's fights, I knew how strong of a kicker he was. And my game plan was to counter his kicks and also to smother him, to make sure he couldn't kick. So as the bell rang for the first round and Jason threw his first kick, I am not going to lie, I fought. This was my 79th fight, so I have 78 fights, and I fought a guy from Switzerland called Alan Champey, who's a multiple-time world champion, and he actually kicked super hard. He knocked chips off my arm. I still have them off my arm right now, and he kicked super hard. Jason kicked, and I was like, God damn, this guy kicks freaking hard. So I'm like, the game plan, we have to go to the game plan, counter his kicks and smother him so he can't kick too often. First round, I believe I won the first round. I believe it was close. But and then the second round, and I remember going back to the corner. I remember saying, he hits hard, but we can handle this, because you also got to remember I'm really a super lightweight. I'm not really a light middleweight. I always go up in weight because I just like challenges. So as the second round goes, I finally was able to counter one of his kicks and hit him with a left hook to the body, which is my best shot, is left hook to the body. I knew I had Jason hurt. This was probably the best shot of the fight, besides the shot that he lands later on in the 4th round. But I feel like this shot was the defining moment for me. As I won the second round, I thought I won the second round big. I came back to my corner, and I said to my corner man, I said, hey, listen, this ain't going to the 8th round. I am going to stay putting money in the bank, and I'm going to cash out later with those body shots. I don't think it's going to go to the 8th round. 3rd round came, so I feel more confident. And I got to be honest, I think my hands started getting a little bit low because I started feeling confident, started throwing combinations, started backing him up, started smothering him so he wouldn't throw those kicks. And then, which I felt I won the third round, so I felt I was up 3-zip going into the fourth round. Then the fourth round comes, and Jason lands a straight left right to my jaw. And that's all she wrote. I go down. There's controversy on my side with the ref not counting to 10, but I was out cold. I can admit it, I was out cold. Would have beat the count? Probably would have beat the count. If we kept fighting, would Jason knock me out afterwards? Probably would have knocked me out afterwards. So, you could go both ways. I was definitely out. I did wake up and I did try to get up, but it doesn't really matter. Jason landed a hard shot right on the jaw, perfect left hand. And he became the new champ, and hats off to him. And, it's bittersweet because that's my last fight, and I always say, like, you want to end on top. But I came out of retirement so many times, and I got to admit, the biggest thing for me this whole training camp and this whole fight was being with my son the whole training camp. Like I said, I don't have a trainer. Actually, the funny thing is, I didn't know who was running my corner until 2 hours before the fight. That's how crazy it was. I didn't know my boy Sledge ran the corner. I didn't know who was going to be the head corner man 2 hours before my fight. Like, you're talking about a 12-round world title fight of defending my belt, and I don't even know who's running my corner. So, but I live, in a small circle, and I just, I do everything to myself. But this whole training camp meant so much to me to have my son by my side and really be in this gym, this 100-degree whatever gym. If you see me, I'm sweating because it's so hot here. But this gym, and he was by my side the whole time, and that means the most to me. As far as coming out of retirement, yet again, we did come up with a name. JackHammer Promotions presents Till the Wheels Fall Off, but that is not going to happen. I want it to happen, but it's not going to happen because a good friend of mine, Sal, that owns a barbershop, has big things coming out. Big shout out to Sal the barber. He said to me, it's best to retire knowing you still can do it than retire knowing you don't have it left. So I know I still can do it, so I'm going to retire on a high note. Even though I lost my last fight, I'm still going to retire on a high note, being I have all my brain cells and I still have everything here. I have no real injuries, so I'm going to retire this way, and, we're all my brain cells and I could talk right, which is, very important in fighting. As far as my career, there is, I gotta be honest, I fought 16 world champions. And out of those 16 world champions, I would say 90% of those world champions are actually great guys, are great individuals. I just want to talk about a couple of them because we all share the same thing. We're all, we all want to knock each other out, but we're all sharing that same dream. And Jason is actually a class act. He really is. After the fight, he was nothing but nice. He actually texted me. Well, not texted me. He FaceTimed me because it's a different country. But he FaceTimed me, asked me how I was doing afterwards. I mean, nothing but respect to Jason. But he's also just a great person. Like, it's crazy. You fight these guys and you try to kill each other. But like I said, we're all chasing the same dream. Chris Deacon, who's also my first ever retirement. I had 700 retirements. He was also a great guy. Me and him always chat. We also got Michael Robbie Johnson, who was hitting me up before this fight, talking to me. I didn't even know he fought Jason Vassalo the day before. We talked all the time, but he just told me he fought him 3 times and lost him 3 times. I didn't know that. But all these guys. You also got Gary Hamilton, who I talk about all the time. And, we never fought. And because of Gary Hamilton, I feel like my career became what it is because I always was chasing the best guy out there, which was him. And he was actually, I couldn't believe how supportive he was after I lost. Like, always checking up on me, seeing how I was doing after I lost, days after I lost, giving me good, good motivation, saying good things that I really needed to hear. And, to me, he was my idol. Like, I wanted to be better than Gary Hamilton. That's why I always wanted to do my whole career, was be better than Gary Hamilton. There's 4 major players that did a role for me coming up. One's Devin Cormack. If you guys know who Devin Cormack is, he's a world champion at a lower weight class. And when I first had my first amateur fight, when I was 15 years old. He walked into the room, everyone was talking to him. And my trainer at the time said to me, that guy's a world champion. And I remember saying, that guy's a world champion? I'm gonna fight him one day. And so when I was an amateur, I looked up to Devin Cormack, and I ended up fighting Devin Cormack 4 times actually as a pro. And then Lennox Chance, anyone knows Lennox Chance, he's also from New York. You know, me and him, we hated each other. Now we're like brothers. We fought as amateurs, we fought as pros. Nothing but love, but he also helped me in my career, as in, you know, making me go that extra level to be better. And then the last but not least is Tommy Bach. I mean, Tommy Bach is probably the living legend. I say out of everyone I ever fought, Tommy Bach is probably the toughest guy I ever fought, and I fought him 3 times. And without Tommy Bach, I feel like I have no professional career, because that guy was the person besides Gary Hamilton's. I never fought Gary Hamilton, but because of fighting Tommy Bach, I learned how to go to the body, which most of my knockouts are by body shots, and it was because of Tommy Bach. So having Rocky there having him there at the fight was great, but like I had 3 fights. This would be the 3rd fight that Rocky was there. I had my come out retirement fight that I won, that I was able to hold Rocky when I was announced the winner, and then I had a exhibition match, which I got to have Rocky walk me to the ring, which was the best. You know, he held my hand, we walked right to the ring, which was great. And then we had this fight, which was by far totally different, because he was here in the gym with me. He was here at least 3 times a week with me, you know, for hours, and he didn't want to leave. And when we started off, he didn't want to do anything, and then I would just be like, all right, bring your toys, and then all of a sudden, playing with his toys, then he's hitting the bag next to me. So to have him there was great. I said to him, you upset Daddy lost, and he says it's okay, but he always says Daddy never loses. Before this fight, he always said Daddy never loses. But I hope I did make him proud, you know, because like I said, I was winning the fight. It wasn't like I was losing the fight. I was winning the fight against a bigger, more experienced, better fighter, which I love to be the underdog. So, you know, it is great, you know, and I hope one day he'll realize when he gets older that, you know, he was here in the gym and he was able to walk out with my belt, and, you know, he held my hand the one time. I got to hold him when I got my hand raised. So, you know, I had those 3 experiences with my son, which, you know, those are priceless to me, to be honest. So the next step, the next chapter is honestly really hard. It's really hard. It's a real hard pill to swallow, because actually I wanted to fight right away. I tried to fight October 7th right away, and the promoter couldn't pay for my medicals and all this stuff, but I wanted to fight right away. I wasn't going to even tell no one. I was just going to go and fight and be like, oh, I fought this weekend. As it's hard. It's the hardest thing for me to do is to walk away for something I did my whole adult life. Like, when people don't understand this, I did this since I was 15 years old. I am 40 years old now. Since I was 15, before I was even an adult, I did this. All I did was fighting. So, like, you know, you say people like, oh, that guy, oh, that guy's in the UFC, or that guy did Glory. I fought my whole life. Like, this is it. I got 79 fights. I fought my whole life. So it is hard to really hang it up. And I don't want to say they're totally hung up, but they're definitely hung up, and I don't see them getting off the shelf really ever again. But you never know. But I really don't think they're ever gonna get off. As the next chapter comes, it's definitely gonna be focused more on the gym and my fighters coming up, because I had so many fighters on the show, but it's hard for them to fight with me not running their corner. You know, they really need me there to show them, you know, tell them what to do and really give them advice. And then obviously the promotions, we're still doing big things in promotions. You still got to remember, we're still running JackHammer UK, which is getting huge. So we're going to start over our crossover promotions probably in a year and a half. Crossover promotions taking a little bit longer than we thought. It's a lot harder than people realize, because you're not talking about crossover as we're going to have one guy from England fight a guy from US. We're talking about teams. We're talking about 5-6 fighters from US and 5-6 fighters from England. And we did it before. We did it multiple times. But now it's a little more tricky, as everything's a little bit higher in price. So we're going to get there, and we're going to be doing crossover shows between JackHammer Promotions here and JackHammer Promotions UK, which is something I'm really looking forward to. And then we're also, I don't really want to give out too many details, but starting 2024, there's going to be tournaments coming up. As in, I'm not gonna tell you as in. just think, there's gonna be tournaments. I don't want to tell you as in what, but you'll see coming up next year, 2024, JackHammer Promotions, we're doing some kind of tournaments. I'm not saying it's gonna be a tournament as in like a grappling tournament. You'll see coming to 2024. So for the past 25 years in my career, I have a lot of people to thank. First off, I want to thank my first trainer, which is Tom and Gargiola from Shaolin Self-Defense Centers. He taught me a lot. I was with him since I was 4 years old to I was about 21 years old. And then I transferred over to Belmore Kickboxing, where I met Chris Cardona. Chris Cardona was my, I would say mostly my pro trainer for, I don't know, 12 years. And then I transferred over to Ray Longo just for one fight. Ray Longo, I want to thank him too. So those three guys, you know, those are my three trainers really that I had, you know, in my 25 years. I did do a lot of training by myself as an amateur. I was to train myself for many fights. I wouldn't even see my trainer until the night of the fight. You know, like people think that's crazy. I wouldn't even see him to that night. I haven't seen him for 3 months. He shows up at night, run my corner. No one holds mitts, and I go fight. You know, so I kind of used to, like I said, for this last fight, I had no trainer. The last fight before, I had no trainer. I get used to that. You know, it's not one thing I'm, you know, mad about. I also like to thank a lot of my sponsors. McCann's closed now, but McCann's was one of my biggest sponsors for so many years. Sal the Barber, Squid Graphics, these guys been with me since day one. So, you know, without those guys, you know, I wouldn't be around. You know, we have many other sponsors coming throughout the 25 years. I'm not gonna name them all because we had so many. But I wanna thank my best friends, Josh and Brian, always been around. You know, all my sparring partners for years, 25 years. You know how much sparring I did for 25 years? Oh my God. I've been doing 12-round fights since I was 23 years old. 2005 was my first 12-round fight. So the rounds of sparring I did is crazy. It's also why I really think I should stop so I don't turn punchy. I took a lot of punches to the head. But I also want to thank Teresa, you know, the mother of of Rocky. You know, she runs JackHammer Promotions. Really, she does great. There's a lot of other people I want to thank. My brother, who's always great. But I also want to thank all my staff at JackHammer Promotions, who we've been JackHammer Promotions since 2009. So we've been in business for a long time. You know, and I have a great staff. And you know, I gotta be honest. I don't even have to be there sometimes. The staff they're so well trained that they could all do their job and I don't have to say anything. That's how good they are. So everyone at JackHammer Promotions I want to thank. I also want to thank my father. You know, my father been with me. He raised me and my brother by himself. Without him, you know, I would never got into this. Big help for my whole career. So without him, I couldn't have done this too. My father always been there for me. I want to thank my girlfriend who's always dealing with me, putting up with me bitching and moaning all the time about stupid things, and she has to hear it. So I want to thank her for that. And I just want to thank my son who really added to this whole thing of me fighting again because, you know, I do everything for him. You know, he's my pride and joy, my little boy. That's for sure. And hopefully one day, maybe he'll have one fight.